Hey, Cardinal fans, our first episode of 2025 on This Week in Ball State Sports. It's a great show after the holidays are behind us now. Director of Athletics Jeff Mitchell joins us here first. We'll also have head men's tennis coach Bill Richards, Joanna Saleem, the gymnastics head coach, join us as well. And then a new segment on the show, our alumni spotlight. We'll have Dennis Trammell of Ball State men's basketball join us as well on the podcast. So a lot coming up, but first and foremost, make sure you subscribe on YouTube, SoundCloud, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you get your podcast. Go ahead and subscribe to This Week in Ball State Sports. Jeff, really appreciate you joining us. And is it too late to say Happy New Year here on January 8th?
No, it's not too late to say Happy New Year. Thanks for having me, and I apologize for my gravelly voice this morning. It's 2025 has met me with a bit of a cold here during this first winter blast.
You're allowed one a year. It's okay, Jeff, as the AD.
That's all I need.
Get it out of the way early. Right. How was your holiday break? What were you up to?
We had a great holiday break. I really enjoyed the Christmas season with my family, and we took a little trip. As a family of four, it's always good to do that when we have a few days that we can just hang out with each other and enjoy some downtime. So enjoyed that, and looking forward, though, to the new year ahead, and excited about what we've got going on here at Ball State Athletics.
Well, you mentioned the new year ahead. 1 week already in the books, Jeff, and 3 MAC and MIVA Player of the Week awards already. Hannah Ruthberg from gymnastics, Patrick Rogers from men's volleyball, and Allie Becky from women's basketball. That is a way to start off 2025.
Well, it is. I'm so proud of those 3 really talented student athletes. They're so much fun to watch. Hannah is so talented in gymnastics and all the different skills that she has, and excited to watch her compete in person this weekend as we host our first gymnastics meet. And then Patrick Rogers is so explosive on the volleyball court, and our men's volleyball team's off to a great start, 2-0, and we head to the West Coast this weekend to play Stanford. Stanford's ranked number 13 in the country. We, of course, are ranked number 5. So it'll be a great top 15 matchup on the West Coast in Palo Alto. And then what can you say about Allie Becky and just her phenomenal play to date this season, and certainly expecting big things from her as we go down the stretch of the 2024-25 women's basketball season. Just a spectacular basketball player, a great human being, and those 3 collectively is why we do what we do at Ball State, and to celebrate them this week has been pretty special.
We'll talk about each one of those individual sports coming up here in a moment, Jeff. But before we get to that, definitely want to recap something that happened in 2024 and the academic success from last semester. What are your thoughts surrounding that?
Well, so proud of our student athletes. So this is the second consecutive fall now that all 19 of our teams have registered a 3.0 or better GPA, and our cumulative GPA for the entire department is a 3.43. So it just a spectacular job, not only by our student athletes, but by our coaches who promote and emphasize academic success, and certainly by our student athlete support services staff led by Laura Hillenberg. Just a tremendous job that she and her staff do to help our student athletes be successful academically. It is our first pillar of what we want to accomplish as a successful athletics department, is to have tremendous academic success. So we've been doing that term over term, certainly in my time here, and that was something that was inherited because we were successful before I arrived, but we're continuing to set the standard of what it means to be a talented student athlete, and to be able to celebrate all 19 of our teams doing well academically resonates across this campus. And so I'm very proud of the work that our student athletes are doing in the classroom.
Director of Athletics joining us here on This Week in Ball State Sports, Jeff Mitchell with us. Jeff, when you look at the academic success, it's been there throughout the course of the tenure of Ball State's history, but the on-court in competition on the field is also there this semester, already starting off with some of our programs. You mentioned gymnastics, men's volleyball, women's basketball. I want to kind of break down some of those sports as we go throughout. But starting off with men's volleyball, you mentioned it. They're taking on Stanford. That is a very well-positioned team in the top 5 of the standings of the rankings already right now. But I think that the way that Coach Cruz and staff have assembled the newcomers, but also have been able to keep so many returners, puts this team in a very strong position this year.
Well, they are. They're very talented. They're very deep. And I think Coach Cruz has done a great job building a schedule that will be challenging, but will also is a schedule that our team is prepared to play. And we have a rotation, I think, that is among the best in the country. So we need to play other teams that have similar lineups so that we can continue to challenge ourselves, certainly early as we prepare for conference play. So I'm looking forward to seeing where we are as a team as we go to the West Coast to play Stanford. And of course, as we come back, looking ahead to next week, Mick, we host the preseason number 6 BYU Cougars, and that's going to be a tremendous test for us, and it's going to be a top 10 matchup right here in Worthen Arena. So really excited for our fans, excited for our student athletes and our coaches to welcome BYU to Worthen, and our guys are ready to compete with the best, and I think they believe in themselves. They're a connected team. We played a couple of matches last week, and just seeing the communication on the court and the way they move, the way they support each other. We played a lot of guys in those first 2 matches, so it was encouraging to see the depth on that roster as well, and looking forward to the season ahead. They're a fun bunch to watch.
Always seems like depth is one of the big key pieces throughout the course of a season for a volleyball squad, and Ball State has that specifically this year. Jeff, turning our attention toward gymnastics, they compete on Sunday. You mentioned it, a quad meet, bringing in SEMO, Wisconsin Eau Claire, and then Illinois, who they saw last year in the NCAA Regionals. An awesome opportunity to host that team here in Worthen Arena, as well as those other 2 teams.
Yeah, it's great. And they are off to a great start, too, having participated in a meet last weekend at Missouri and competed against a very talented Missouri team. Came in second place in that meet, defeated a very good Illinois State team and a very good SEMO team. So I'm looking forward to having them be in the arena, in our arena, to host a quad meet this weekend. I talked to Coach Saleem after they returned from Missouri, and she's very pleased with where her team is right now and the level of competition that they're competing against. And she's excited about this home opener in the meet this weekend on Sunday. So I look forward to watching them compete, and it's great to have somebody like Hannah to return and just be a veteran presence for this team. Again, we talk about depth, and I think there's some depth on our gymnastics roster, some new faces and new names, but I look forward to watching them compete, and excited about the fact that we're off to a great start.
Joanna Saleem going to join us as well here on This Week in Ball State Sports to preview that meet, recap the first one, and talk about her squad this year. Jeff, basketball's in full force right now. Men's basketball picked up a massive win on the road against Kent State to open up MAC play. Lost a close one to Miami on Tuesday, but they're back at it Saturday against Bowling Green at home.
Yeah, on the men's side, this league is tough. There's no easy outs. You're going to have to compete in each conference game. We've seen a lot of teams go on the road and win. We've seen teams that started the season winning on the road, and then they come back at home and they drop a contest. I mean, it's going to be like that, I think, throughout the entirety of league play. And so teams that are going to emerge as kind of the leaders in the league are going to have to play consistent basketball both at home and on the road. And I am encouraged by the fact that we could go on the road at Kent State, who arguably is, after non-conference play, was the best team in the league, and win that ball game. And then, we had some lapses last night at home defensively that cost us the game. But we got another great opportunity on Saturday against Bowling Green to bounce back and go 2-1 to start the first week of league play and prepare us as we advance forward throughout the season. But I think our guys are learning now the pace and the cadence and the rhythm of what it takes to be prepared to play in a conference game. Now that they've seen a couple of contests and have an off day as we record this today on Wednesday, and then they get ready to play against a good Bowling Green team this coming Saturday.
Women's basketball also in the thick of Mid-American Conference play, Jeff. 2-0 start for them. 10 wins already through 14 games this year. The squad's just rolling.
Yeah, they're so much fun to watch. We're getting healthy again, which is fun, and just the brand of basketball that the women play is hard to beat, and they're just relentless, both offensively and defensively. They're a connected team. It seems like at every turn, everybody that's on the floor always knows where to be, always knows what they need to do from an assignment standpoint, both defensively and certainly they flow into the offense. And there's risks that are taken on the court. It's kind of funny. We watch our team play offensively, and there's some things that are done that sometimes they're done flawlessly, but it was still a risky play, and we celebrate that. And there's some things that happen, and you question why. Maybe there's a cross-court pass or a long pass to somebody who's running to the rim, and maybe the ball is fumbled, but it's there, and it's just a part of execution. But our team is able to make those kind of mistakes and turn it into something successful just because of the way they play on the defensive side. But more often than not, they control the basketball really well, take great shots. And when you can take great shots, you give yourself a better chance to make those shots. And, turning other teams over like we do certainly contributes to the ability to take some risks when necessary. But we're a very controlled team and fun to watch. And I'm excited for Coach Saleem, the coaching staff, all of our teams, and all of our players on that team as we continue to improve. And I think we are, as a team, continuing to improve game in and game out.
Back at home this weekend is men's and women's swimming and diving, Jeff, against Evansville. It's a big opportunity for the Muncie crowd to come out and enjoy some men's and women's swimming and diving.
Yeah, we don't host mini meets here on campus, and so when we do, it's fun for our student athletes to have a home crowd, and look forward to watching both teams compete this weekend. It's a fun atmosphere inside the Llewellyn pool. It gets loud, and plus it's warm inside.
It does get loud. That's a great environment. When there's a crowd in there, it gets loud and it's exciting. So join.
That's right.
Come on in and join Saturday.
It'll be fun.
It will be fun. Also competing for the first time this spring, men's tennis is on the road, Jeff, against Michigan. We'll have Bill Richards, the head coach for the Cardinals, join us here on the show as well. But that'll be a fun, exciting season for that team.
Yeah, looking forward to watching those guys compete as well. And, it's always funny to have what is presumed to be an outdoor sport start so early in the winter. Obviously, they'll be playing indoors, but I know Coach Richards and that team have been working really hard to get ready for the season to start, and the women will be close behind starting the following week. So looking forward to watching those guys compete, and just continue to celebrate Coach Bill Richards and just the remarkable achievements that he has or that he has on his resume throughout his tenure here at Ball State. Just a remarkable human being, a remarkable coach, and he's going into, I think, his 53rd season as the head coach at Ball State, and I think he's more excited about this one than he's been the previous 52. So our coaches are always excited to get the season started. And I think Bill Richards is as giddy as the next one in terms of being ready for the season.
I love it. 53 years, and still it's like year one for Coach Bill Richards. And that's what makes it so exciting. I'm excited to have him here on the podcast coming up as well. Jeff, we look at indoor track and field also in Chicago this weekend. There's a lot going on, home and away. Indoor track and field also competing this weekend.
Yeah, we've entered a new year, but we're not slowing down with all the events and competitions that we're involved in, and another great team that has a chance to be really successful. Coach Adrian Wheatley and his staff and that group of talented student athletes has a chance to be really successful again this year, and so they've got a good opportunity ahead of them this weekend to get going as the indoor track season gets underway.
That is this weekend in Chicago for the track and field squad on the indoor side of things. Jeff, that's a wrap-up of our conversation of the sports in action coming up this week and this semester. But some big news out of the Mid-American Conference and the Mountain West. Northern Illinois football only is jumping from the MAC to the Mountain West. From your perspective, how does that impact what you see in the Mid-American Conference?
Well, conference realignment continues to be a reality in 2025. We've seen some movement over the last few years, and will we continue to see movement? Certainly, there's the opportunity for that. We're in a very disruptive time in NCAA intercollegiate athletics, and the Mid-American Conference is not immune to those changes. I think the strength of the league is certainly the geography of the league, and but we're not immune to change, and to hedge against what. Not that anybody thought anybody would leave, but to hedge against it is one of the reasons why the conference added UMass to the portfolio of schools. And so now as NIU departs to go to the Mountain West as a football-only member, certainly the other sports will land in other conferences, and we will still have a 12-team league with the addition of UMass coming in. We'll, of course, go through the 25-26 academic and athletics year with 13 member institutions, but with NIU departing in the summer of 26, going into the 26-27 academic athletics year, the Mid-American Conference will be a 12-team league with the addition of UMass. So we wish NIU well as they change conferences, but I think for those that are following college athletics closely, they just need to understand that there's going to be continuous change over the next several years as we adjust to the modernization of intercollegiate athletics. And the reality is that it's just different today than it has been, and certainly it's been changing rapidly over the past couple of years in particular. But we have to chart a new path. And, for Ball State, Mick, our focus is entirely on what we're doing on our campus and what we're doing to support our 19 teams and how we can best position them to continue to be competitive within the Mid-American Conference and beyond. And so that's my focus. That's the focus of President Mearns and our entire leadership team, is to prepare our teams to be as successful as they can be in our league and beyond. And I am bullish on what we're doing here on our campus and excited about the support that we have as we go into this new year and as we go into a new era of intercollegiate athletics.
Director of Athletics Jeff Mitchell joining us here on This Week in Ball State Sports. Jeff, before we let you go here, is there anything else you want to say to Ball State fans?
Well, looking forward to seeing all of our fans in Worthing Arena in particular over the next several weeks as basketball season heats up with conference play, as men's volleyball season heats up, and as gymnastics has multiple events in the arena. Certainly exciting opportunities for our fans to come watch our student athletes compete. A lot of fun. Plus, it's warm inside, and grateful for the support that our fans are showing us as we flip the calendar to 2025. And Mick, I appreciate you putting up with me today with my voice, and I'm expecting for my voice to continue to improve day over day, just like our student athletes getting better every day. I'm going to try to get better too.
I was about to say we like to see it from the top down, right, Jeff? We'll hold you accountable. We'll make sure that you're better tomorrow than you were today.
Thank you, Mick.
Also, are you participating in the Taylor Swift promotion for gymnastics on Sunday? Or is your family? Is anybody in the Mitchell household?
Well, look, it is hard not to get excited about a Taylor Swift anything, right? I mean, it's just she's an iconic pop culture figure, so we might as well get excited and participate.
I love it. Jeff, we'll see you throughout the week. Appreciate you.
Thank you, Mick. Go Cards.
They fly down the court and fly through the air.
Right to left, the shifty guard pulls up straightaway three, sinks it.
And we fly with the Cardinals.
Straightaway Trey lets it loose and buries it.
This is your home for Ball State Cardinals basketball.
Drives baseline left, he throws it off the window and it drops in.
All the action all season long is right here.
Hey, Cardinal fans, welcome back inside This Week in Ball State Sports. And today we're talking a little bit of Ball State gymnastics with head coach Joanna Saleem. Coach, really appreciate your time joining us after a meet that you guys had this past weekend.
Thanks for having us on and the interest in our crew.
Of course, and it's been a crew that you guys are trying to put together, and it seems like after we talked last year, Joanna, of the recap of last season and how excited you were about the veteran group, that how they performed this year, how would you say the group's starting to come together so far?
It's coming together well. Obviously, you have bumps in the road for any team at any point during the beginning of the year. You got to get out on the competition floor to kind of see what you need to work on. There's a point in the fall where you can only reproduce a meet-like scenario so many times. So being able to actually get out on the competition floor gives us a lot more facts that you can make actions on.
After the first meet completed, how would you say that you felt like the progress from the beginning of the semester or the beginning of the year to now is starting to come together?
It's definitely good to see them get out and stay consistent and stay confident. That was one of our things that we talked about is we're not trying to go out and be perfect, especially these first competitions. We're just going out and doing the same thing that they've been doing here every day. They've been working really hard to lead up to this point, and we don't need anyone to go out and try to be a hero. They just need to stay calm and confident. When you have a group, we lost, I think, 10 routines from last year of seasoned competitors out on the competition floor. They had done it for several years. So now you're putting people in that have been practicing and preparing and getting there, but they haven't necessarily had that same like competitive experience. And just really excited with how they handled that, especially at that first competition. It was loud and it was a big meet and there was a lot going on. So I really am excited to see what they can do as they build from here. It's great to be able to simulate that noise in a first meet like that, right? In that type of environment. Yeah. I mean, we had the wrestling crew as well as the gymnastics crew, and there were a lot of fans there. So for them to be able to get out on the competition floor and stay focused and take all that extra energy that the crowd brings and be able to use it in a productive way was something that is going to be super helpful for us for the rest of the season. When you talk about the veterans that you did have coming back this year, how have you seen that group kind of help lead the way for that core that you mentioned that is still competing for the very first season? I think that the beauty of what they bring is just that reassurance of trusting yourself. It's not any different letting them know that whether they've been competing or they haven't been competing, the routines are the same. So seeing that leadership both on the competition floor, but also in the gym day to day, of setting a standard and saying this is how we go after it, and this is the way we respond to things that are maybe not going so well, and this is how we celebrate the things that are going really well, so that we can keep the focus on what the bigger picture is. So it's great to have that returning kind of leadership, and it also develops our new people and showing them how to be leaders, and we've been able to see them be mentored, so it's going to be good for years to come.
How great was it to be able to get Hannah Ruthberg to come back and compete for a fifth year?
Oh, it's always awesome. When you have the people that are part of the system, are passionate with the program, and just love Ball State, just like having Megan Teeter back last year, there's just something really valuable about those seasoned veterans, that keeping them in a place where they can stay mobile and stay focused on having some fun, and continuing to get through the whole season. It's awesome. So we're super glad that she's back.
And with all the accomplishment that Hannah has had throughout her 4+ year career at Ball State, is there a next step that she can take, or that you want to see her be able to perform this year?
I think as long as Hannah's doing Hannah, we're going to be in a good place. I mean, she is a driven young woman that has a lot of goals, and but also has the ability to balance out, like, how do I work hard but also enjoy what I'm doing. I think she thrives in that competitive environment, and that's something that's great. Watching what she's going to do when she's done from here, those are the things that are going to be really exciting and fun. But this year, I think just be Hannah. That's all we can ask of her.
That sounds like a great recipe for success. When we look at Ashley Szymanski, freshman of the year in the Mid-American Conference, coach, how have you seen her take another leap this year?
I think when you have a freshman come in and then have some of the success that Ashley had, it definitely sets her up for this sophomore season to be able to say, okay, I can come in and maybe I don't have the same kind of I don't want to say anxiety, but there is a bit of like this excitement as a freshman where you're just not quite sure. And she's been able to take that and say, okay, I know what I need to do and I know how I need to get there, especially on these couple of events. And now I'm going to build and work on the other events. But it's also, it gives her a space to be able to enjoy a little bit more of some of that training day to day, because she's not necessarily preoccupied with what do I need to do 3 steps down the road. So keeping her present and just enjoying the craft that she is doing has been a little bit more fun to watch this year.
Coach Joanna Saleem joining us from Ball State Gymnastics here on This Week in Ball State Sports. One meet's already in the books. Another one coming up this time at home inside Worthen Arena Sunday, 1 o'clock. Get your tickets at 888 BSU Ticket or ballstatesports.com. It's going to be a fun meet inside Worthen. Joanna, there's a Taylor Swift promotion going on, right? So are we expecting you to be dressed up and ready to go, or is this business as normal for you?
There might need to be some extra sparkles out there on the competition floor for all of us.
You were Coach Cass, right? One of you two.
I don't know. I mean, Scott could probably put us all to shame. So you just never want to count anyone out.
I'm looking forward to that.
I think they're planning on doing some friendship bracelets and maybe something similar to the 22 giveaway that Taylor does at some of her concerts. I think there's going to be some fun things that our crowd's going to be able to get involved and enjoy. So we're kind of fun.
Awesome.
We're excited.
There's a Indiana Club Day, right, as well?
Yeah, they are reaching out to see how many of those club members can get in and get there and help to fill the stands a little bit for us.
Awesome. And then freshman post-meet pictures also on the promotional list for gymnastics this weekend. A lot of good stuff. I think that's a really good weekend if you ask me. And it's a quad meet.
They fly down the court and fly through the air.
Right to left, the shifty guard pulls up straightaway three, sinks it.
And we fly with the Cardinals.
Straightaway Trey lets it loose and buries it.
This is your home for Ball State Cardinals basketball.
Drives baseline left, he throws it off the window and it drops in.
All the action all season long is right here.
Sunday, 1 o'clock. Make sure to get your tickets and get you ready for your Taylor Swift Eras tour for Cardinal Nation. Joanna, you had mentioned that this younger group has gotten the experience. From the first meet, how did you see some of those young performers take the stage and really handle that?
You watch and you know that it's the first meet. You can look out and see some of the first meet jitters that you see, but what I really loved about it is the bandwidth of where they're staying in their performance, letting things go when they weren't perfect and being able to stay in the flow of the competition and perform well. So knowing that you're not going to have your first meet isn't going to be your perfect meet. You got to get out there. You want to do well, and that's what they did. And now they have some things that they can build on for the rest of the season.
I know you won't talk about it too much, Joanna, because you're focused on the process, but from the outside of the perspective of gymnastics put up their best opening score in a meet in program history, I feel like that says a lot about those freshmen and those young athletes that have been waiting for their time to shine, that they took the stage and they really grasped what your coaching staff and what the upper class had been saying all along to be ready for a meet.
Yeah, I think it, again, like you said, it goes back to process. And if you focus on setting standards and teaching these young women how to set goals together and how to work together, how do you handle adversity? How do you come in on a hard day? You're seeing years and years of legacy being left from what we've been developing. And the results will be what the results will be. We, best score, worst score, whatever, we have sat down and said, hey, we need to make sure we're gauging based off of what we're capable of doing and then what are our standards. Yes, the scores will come if you're doing those things, but we also have to make sure that our focus is on where am I putting my hand and where am I putting my foot and how am I interacting with my group and how do I feel at the end of the day after working really hard?
Yeah.
Have I left it all where it needs to be?
How excited are you for another year of Zoe Middleton?
Who could not be excited to watch another year of Zoe Middleton? She's so explosive and dynamic, and watching her compete is pretty fun. Getting to train and watch her every day in the gym is definitely something that we're all grateful that we get to see and be part of. So she brings a different kind of energy that is contagious and fun, and being able to watch her strong, dynamic gymnastics definitely helps to raise the bar in the gym.
Well, Joanna, before we let you go here on This Week in Ball State Sports, is there anything else you want Ball State fans to know about the team or anything coming up for you?
I think for us, it's just getting those fans in the stands to come and watch these guys. They're a great group. I can't tell you how much fun it is to walk in and see how they handle things. They are hungry and they are driven and they're all focused and they're all very, very different. And that doesn't mean that we don't have bad days, but they just really take that into the equation and say, hey, this isn't getting in my way. I'm going to learn and adapt and move forward and do really challenging things. And I'm going to laugh about it while I'm doing it. So come and watch us and watch them grow and develop throughout the season. We'd love to see the fans cheering us on.
You heard it from Coach. Come on Sunday, 1 o'clock, quad meet, Illinois, Wisconsin, Eau Claire, and SEMO in town to take on Ball State as well for the first home meet of the season. Check out the promotional list as well. Lots of fun stuff coming up for gymnastics. Coach, really appreciate your time and good luck this week.
Great. Thanks so much. I appreciate it.
They fly down the court and fly through the air.
Right to left, the shifty guard pulls up straightaway three, sinks it.
And we fly with the Cardinals.
Straightaway Trey lets it loose and buries it.
This is your home for Ball State Cardinals basketball.
Drives baseline left, he throws it off the window and it drops in.
All the action all season long is right here.
Hey, Ball State Cardinal fans, welcome back into This Week in Ball State Sports. And today we're introducing our brand new segment here in 2025, our Athlete Alumni Spotlight. And first up is Dennis Trammell, Ball State men's basketball graduate, back in his day, All-MAC first team member. Dennis, really appreciate your time here joining us.
I love it. I love the introduction, man. I appreciate it. I'm happy to be here, Mick. Thanks.
Well, Dennis, we're just talking about it offline before we jumped on. How about men's basketball starting off with the win at Kent State? You said any year is always a good year to get a win there?
It doesn't matter. I don't care if it was the 90s, the 80s, the 70s, 2000s. A win at Kent is huge. And I was so happy when I saw that. I didn't get a chance to watch the game because I was busy with my kids, but like I said, it don't matter. A win at Kent is huge.
What makes that place so hard to play at? I mean, they get usually between 1,200 fans a game. It's always loud, but what makes it tough to play at Kent State?
I mean, when I played, they were always good. You know, they always had really good talent. They was always well coached. And yeah, that place is used to winning. You know, so they bring the energy. They bring the fight every day. The players do, and you know, and you can probably say this about the other MAC schools too. But Kent was always good. You know, they were always a pretty competitive team. So to win there was always big.
What was your favorite memory about playing Kent State?
We beat them at home. I think it was my senior year. I think that was probably my best memory was beating them at home because I believe the year before we lost at their place in a really, really tough, close game that we kind of competed down to the wire, ended up losing, and we were kind of hurt and mad about that. But to be able to come back the following year and kind of avenge that loss at home was one of the best memories I had. So.
How about against Miami, Ohio? That's Ball State's opponent on Tuesday. I know this podcast drops the day after that, so we won't be able to talk about that game as we're recording this on a Tuesday. But how about Miami? What always happens there when you were playing?
Yeah, when we played Miami, man, it was always I forget the coach there, but I just remember them playing kind of a slow style. The games were 40s, 50s, and at that time when we played them, I believe it was my junior year, they had Ball State at that time hadn't won there, and I think probably 10 plus years or something like that. And I think it was my junior year. We went there and beat them in a close game too. So, Miami is always they're always tough. They, like I said, well coached. They always have pretty good talent, and it's just a fight. It's a fight each game to try to bring it out and pull out the victory. So.
Hey, you mentioned that they played that slower pace back when you were playing against them. This year, they're dropping 90 points like it's no problem.
Oh, wow.
That team is they've hit 17 threes in each of the last 3 games. So,
oh my goodness,
Ball State's defense will have to prepare for that.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, they'll have to score some points, and I don't know what Coach Lewis's game plan would be, but my guess it would be he would try to slow that down a little bit.
Yeah, right.
Maybe try to keep that score in the 70s a little bit or something like that. But yeah, I think this staff and the players seem committed to not only stopping people but also putting the ball in the basket at a high rate too. So I think they'll be prepared.
Yeah, whenever you limit Kent State to under 70 points, I feel like that's a good sign. And then Ball State's offense right now has been lethal the last 4 games during this win streak. And Dennis, also that defense is second in the MAC right now. So we'll see that high-octane offense from Miami against that stellar defense for Ball State on Tuesday after we record this.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Dennis, you mentioned the coaching staff. You have a chance to sit courtside at every home game for Ball State men's basketball. For you, what's that experience like to be able to sit that close to the environment that you once played in?
Yeah, I mean, it's as a former player, that's just kind of what you're used to. You're kind of used to watching those games and feeling like you're a part of it, and that's what sitting courtside kind of does. It makes you feel like you're a part of the game. You get to hear the referees chatter, you get to hear the players chatter, and even some back and forth between the two teams. And then you get to kind of, for me, like I love the game and I want to see Ball State thrive. You get to kind of encourage the players too at a point where they can kind of hear you, Ethan Britton Watts, he's one of the guys that I feel like I've always tried to greet coming in, Peyton Sparks, some of the newer guys I don't know as well, but Mickey, some of those guys that have been around for a little bit. It's nice to have that kind of connection with them where they can greet me and say, "What's up?" Give me a hug, dap me up, or whatever, and I can wish them luck. I don't try to be. I am a coach, I am a trainer, but I don't try to be a coach over there. I just try to encourage the guys and show them some love and let them know, man, we're rooting for them.
I feel like that's such a great way to connect alumni within the program to current players. Do you feel that way, to be able to sit courtside and have that type of camaraderie?
Absolutely. When I was a player, that's kind of something I was seeking out. We used to have players come back and play with us, and I'm sure you'll know some of the names: Dwayne Clemens, Bonzi Wells, P.D. Jackson, Billy Lynch. Yeah, some of those guys used to come back and play with us, and I thought that was the best thing ever for me. I wanted to connect with those guys because we all have the similar struggles. We all have our things that we want to get better at, and we kind of all going through the same thing. So it's good to kind of hear from those guys, compete and play against them. They used to come back and play with us in open gym and that kind of stuff, kind of get to know them and see what their experience was like here. So that connection has always been great, and it's something as a player, former player, I've always tried to do with the program and trying to have that connection, because I think, like myself, some guys kind of seek that out a little bit.
So you mentioned that, and I'm going to give you your props here, Dennis. We saw a half-court video of you hitting a shot. We won't say how many shot attempts it took, though. We'll say it's on the first try, right? You hitting a half-court shot.
I'm gonna be honest. It was on the second try.
Okay, that's fair. So what you're saying is you've still got it, and that if you came back and played practice with some of these guys, you'd still be fine, right?
I would be fine. If I could stay healthy, I would be fine.
That's the key, right? Is the backache a little bit more?
My body is not used to the quick cuts anymore. My body is not used to jumping very high. So I would be afraid to do a lot of those kind of things. But if coach needed me to stand in the corner and shoot threes, I would probably be the best at it.
Look, everybody needs a sharp shooting 3-point shooter. Every team needs one, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yep.
Dennis, when you talk about what you're up to now, it's really cool to hear what you've been up to, because Ball State did a spotlight on you about 8 or 9 years ago, and since then you've been able to have kids, you've been able to do some different things. What have you been up to in the last decade?
Yeah, so for the past 8 years, I've been self-employed. I've been doing training through my business called Next Pro. I work with a lot of middle school and high school kids here in Delaware County, elementary as well. But I've always felt called to give back. I always felt called to have an influence or an impact on the youth that are coming through this environment of sports or basketball, just like myself. And so I've always wanted to work in an environment where I can influence young kids. And so I found a niche in training. I work with, like I said, a lot of middle school and high school kids here in the area, and I'm just trying to help them get better. I'm trying to help them get better in their game. They all have dreams and aspirations like I did, and I'm trying to help them realize some of those. Whether it be Division I, NAIA, or whatever. But so that's a big part of it. But the other part is just helping, teaching, and influence them in a way where they can become great citizens. They can become great friends. They can become great dads or moms and that kind of stuff. So kind of give them the tools and the jewels and the things that I've learned to help them reach those things. So yeah, that's the environment I work in. That's the environment I love. And I do some coaching. I do some AAU coaching as well too. But man, these I'm all about these kids, man. I love them. I have 4 of my own. They're all athletes. They're all, at some point sit courtside with me there, and they enjoy watching the game and seeing that stuff up close. Some things I didn't get to do and see when I was a kid. So they love it as well, man. Yeah.
Are they challenging you yet on the basketball court?
No, not close.
I love it. You still got it.
I got a high schooler that's getting close, but he's got to get his weight up a little bit. He's still kind of tiny.
Hopefully he doesn't watch this part of the show.
I'm gonna make sure he sees it.
Some motivation, some external motivation there. Dennis, why was it important for you? You mentioned it was kind of a calling for you, but why was it important for you to do what you're doing in this community close to where you had so many special memories?
Yeah, I think it was just a calling for me to do it wherever the Lord wanted me to be. When I finished playing basketball overseas, my wife was still here. She was still going to school. She was still studying. So we decided to make Muncie our home at the time. We had plans of leaving and maybe being closer to family and that kind of stuff. But we both felt the Lord was calling us to stay here. We didn't feel any need to go and leave. But I've always loved Muncie. I've always, coming from a big city like Chicago, I always felt Muncie was more my personality. Not that I didn't like the hustle and bustle of Chicago, but I like to be able to get places in 5 minutes. Just being honest. The cost of living there is a little different as well too. It's just a lot going on in that city, and I kind of like the chill, laid backness of Muncie a little bit. Like I said, I think it fits my personality more. So when we decided to stay here, that, like I said, I started to work at different nonprofits here in town. And like I said, now I've kind of found my niche, and I've kind of found my calling on what the Lord wanted me to do here, and that's find a way to keep these youths from growing.
How do you think your experience at Ball State and then playing professionally overseas helped prepare you for the role that you're in now?
Yeah, it gave me some great experience, man. It gave me some great experience. I got to travel and see the world. I got to be around a lot of different people. All right. So first, I think it helps me relate well to a lot of people from a lot of different backgrounds. Because I had to do that. Playing at Ball State, playing overseas in 4 different countries, you meet a lot of different people. So helping me relate to them. I learned a lot about the game. I learned a lot about how to improve as a basketball player, So I got to compete at a high level here at Ball State, and I got to compete at a high level overseas. So you get to learn a lot of different things during that time, So that really prepared me for what I do now, and the things that I like to teach, and the way I like to go about things and helping kids get better. So I just learned so much of that during that time, and then, like I said, it kind of sparked something in me later on in my career, and to now, to where it's like I'm utilizing a lot of those things. So,
how much do you keep in touch with some of your old teammates?
Oh, all the time. I'm on a couple group text threads that we text throughout the week, throughout the day. Peyton Stovall, I'm sure you'll know who Peyton Stovall is. Skip Mills. Skip Mills is a big one. Darren Yates, Michael Bennett, Andrew Forser, Matt McCullum. Those guys I'm really, really tight with. Robert Owens, we communicate, all the time. We get together. I would say 2 or 3 times out of the year down in Indy, one of those guys' house, and
love it.
Just kind of reminisce, man. Some, like I said, some good times, man. To be in the trenches with those guys, and going to Miami, Ohio, where you're trying to grind out a win, going to Kent State and trying to grind out a win, going to Western Michigan. We had a huge one there, I think, my senior year. Like, going there and grinding out wins, man, it just builds this incredible bond amongst guys, and it's just unbreakable, it's just unbreakable. And so when we see each other, we rejoice in our presence with each other. We kind of have fun and hang out, talk about the old times, talk about things that are going on nowadays, and so that's why I just love it, man. Like, I love, that's why I've always tried to stay connected to the program, because I love what it did to me as a person. I love the connections that it created for me. And I want to continue to see that for the kids that are coming up now through the program.
Well, it sounds like we might have to do a larger podcast with that entire group of names that you just mentioned,
Hey,
and just have like story time.
We can get it together, man. We got Tim Buckley was our coach at the time, and we all have this great respect for him, man. I thought he was, obviously his tenure didn't end well here, but as far as what we learned from that guy, like, he was great. He was great, and a lot of the things that he was great at is the same similarities that I see in Coach Lewis as well too.
You mentioned Coach Lewis. You mentioned this year's team, Dennis. How do you see that this team can get on its feet with this 4-game win streak and kind of push themselves to the top of the MAC this year?
Yeah, early on in the season when they were having their struggles, it's a different climate, with the transfer portal. So I wasn't really surprised by them having those struggles early, because I know it just takes time, and you get a bunch of new guys together. It takes time to kind of gel and figure things out, and so I just kept saying, man, let's wait. Let's keep grinding. Let's keep getting better, because that MAC season is coming, man, and that's when it really matters, and so I think we took our lumps early, and I'm excited about what they can do in the MAC this year, man. Like I said, that was a big win, that was a big win, and I think that hopefully that will show the guys, like, hey, we can, any given night, we can beat anybody, we can beat anybody. We just kind of, we got to stay together, got to keep trusting the coaches, and we got to keep grinding this thing out, and let's see what happens at the end. But I'm very excited for them, because I think they got a good chance to compete at a high level this year.
Dennis, you mentioned the transfer portal. You participated in the transfer portal during your career, but it was a little bit of a different opportunity than it is now. You had to take a seat for a year.
Yeah. I know. That's what I talk about that all the time now. Honestly, though, for me, when I look back on it, I think sitting out that year was helpful. It was really helpful for me, because the program that I was coming to with Tim Buckley, man, he ran a type ship, man, and it was. Things were competitive, things were hard, and I think it took me a year to kind of get used to that. It kind of get used to that, and then the academic part as well too. I took school very serious as well too. So being able to balance that, I think, kind of helped me. And then when it was my turn to play, I think I stepped into it and I was ready to go right away. So having that year is helpful, but obviously no player ever wants to do that. Yeah.
Hey, but
these guys got it good these days now. So
little different world with the transfer portal today than it was back in the day. But it paid off, Dennis. You were all MAC when you played at Ball State. I know you don't like talking about yourself, but I'm going to talk for you about yourself. Averaged 14 points a game, all that kind of stuff. But it seems like that when you mentioned Tim Buckley having that type of an opportunity for you, it does seem like the team embraced you, the community embraced you, and then you also embrace it all at the same time, because it seems like that's when your career really took off, is when you got here.
Yeah. I say this all the time to kids, because I think, sometimes it gets lost, in wins and that kind of stuff. But I think ultimately, as for most basketball players, at the end of you might have to ask them at the end of their career, because during their career, sometimes guys don't know what they really want. But I think for the most part, what you really, really want as an individual basketball player is to get better. You want to reach your potential. That is at the end of your career. That's what I believe you find the most satisfaction in. You rejoice more in that, man, look, I did everything I could to get better. You know what I mean? And I got so much better as a basketball player. And so that's what I love more than anything about my experience here at Ball State, man. I really maximize my potential, and for me, that was, all MAC player, all academic player, that kind of stuff. And it was great for me individually. That might mean something else for somebody else. That might mean NBA, or that might mean whatever, but as a player, that's what you want. You want to maximize your potential, and that's what I was able to do. And so, that's why another reason why I love the program and love what some of these coaches do for these athletes year in, year out,
Well, Dennis, before we let you go here on This Week in Ball State Sports, is there anything else you want Ball State fans to know about you, your family, what you're doing now, or just any support that you'd like to throw out there?
Yeah, man. I want the fans to support the team, man. I think this, it was already hard. It's already tough for we, as basketball players, for myself, and I'm sure guys in the program now, guys in the past, our ultimate goal was always to get to that tournament. We wanted to get to the tournament, and us as players, and then the things that I saw the coaches do on a daily basis, all the time and effort my coaches put in, that I know Mike Lewis and his staff is doing, they are doing everything they can to make sure those guys reach that goal. Like, that's the goal, man. We want to go to the tournament, and I think knowing that and knowing these guys are putting everything they can into it, like, I just want the community to support it as much as they can, man. Like, this is high level basketball. This is high level. This is a high level program at Ball State, and what those coaches are doing. So let's cheer them on. Let's get out there and support them, and know that, like, that's the goal. Like, that's what they're trying to do, and they doing everything they can to make sure that happens.
No, well said, Dennis. I completely agree with you, and really appreciate your insight on that. And thank you for joining us, and appreciate what you do in the community for so many people. And really can't wait to keep seeing you at basketball games this year, man.
That's all right. I love it, man. Appreciate you so much for having me on, man. This is great. Go Cards, man, and let's see how we can finish this thing out, man.
They fly down the court and fly through the air.
Right to left, the shifty guard pulls up straightaway three, sinks it.
And we fly with the Cardinals.
Straightaway Trey lets it loose and buries it.
This is your home for Ball State Cardinals basketball.
Drives baseline left, he throws it off the window and it drops in.
All the action all season long is right here.
Hey, Ball State Cardinal fans, welcome back inside This Week in Ball State Sports, talking all things Ball State men's tennis with head men's tennis coach Bill Richards. Coach, really appreciate your time and hope you're staying warm out there.
Well, it's not easy to stay warm at the tennis center. It's I think we have weather rules, and it has to be 50 degrees to play a match, and I don't think we're hitting the 50 degrees inside out there at the tennis center. But no, it's all joking aside. It's all good, but I do bundle up a lot going in there. But yeah, it's all good. We're up and running.
Well, surely we're not hitting 50 degrees outside either right now. So
no, that's for sure.
So 5 degrees this morning, I think, when we walked out the door.
I think so. Yeah, at least it wasn't too windy and the sun was shining, so
that's right.
It could be worse.
It could be worse. Yeah. It could be a lot worse. Coach, when you look at what your roster is right now, how are you feeling going into this first match coming up here in a few days?
Well, it's tough. I mean, I like our roster. I like our team. But going to Michigan on the road, 25 team in the nation, ranked 25. Obviously a big challenge, but we're excited for the opportunity to get the season going. Feel very good about our team. An older group, really. We have 5 seniors out of our 10 players. So we have a lot to replace looking ahead to next year. But I like our team. Good attitudes, good workers, good competitors. Really, from a coach's standpoint, easy team to manage, easy team to coach. And so that stands for a lot. No coach likes to go to practice. You have to fight with guys and make them do things they want to do it, and that's a big plus. So I look forward to the battles with those guys this year, and feel good about what we have ahead of us.
It's always good when you're able to mix an upper-class veteran group with incoming players as well. How are you seeing those groups start to come together?
Our team's really close. One of the terms of chemistry that everyone talks about, I mean, it couldn't be better from that standpoint. And we've got a couple freshmen that are 18 years old, and a grad transfer that's 23. And, that's the way it is for everybody right now. And but probably not as much for us as some of the larger number sports. Putting a team together. The portal is what it is. It's affected us some, not to the degree of many other sports, but yeah, it's a nice blend and good leadership with those older guys, and as I said, it's a good group.
How have you seen the group kind of develop throughout this year so far, from August to today?
Yeah, well, it's been it's always a big process. The fall is all individual tournaments, and it is a time where we're outdoors, and we do have time to really dig into everyone's games and really spend time individually and try to develop and try to take parts of the games that really need to get better and development. The fall really is more about development. Once January hits, right into the season, and it's a balance of preparing for matches and scouting and then recovering enough to be ready for the next one. We go 14 straight weeks without not having a match.
Right.
So January, February, looking ahead are all pre-conference matches. I think we have 11 matches in January and February, and then when March hits, we're into our conference season. But I think everyone's making good progress.
You mentioned Michigan being what they are going into this year. How do you think that this non-conference schedule tests your team to get ready for MAC?
Well, I think we have a really tough, good pre-conference schedule. Very difficult as we start out in terms of at Michigan this week, at Indiana the following week, at Illinois State, who's not as high profile as Michigan and Indiana, but very good team, very very tough venue where they play. So those are our first 3 matches on the road, right, one after another. So that definitely will be a challenge. And then we're home 3 out of 4 weekends in February. And then we're in California for a long weekend and come home, and conference play starts on March 7th. And then we have 10 conference matches through March and April. And then the tournament at the end of April. We have to make the tournament, take only 4 teams. So that's what our focus is.
When you're talking about the roster of this makeup of the roster, Coach, how excited are you for this group to be able to finally get out there and start to compete as a team, to be able to put this thing together? Well,
we're all excited. I mean, practice is practice, and you practice to play matches, you practice to compete, and so that's why we play these early season matches right away. I mean, we wouldn't have to. I mean, I could wait a couple weeks to schedule a match. But, guys, they want to compete. They want to play, and it's been a long time since the 1st of November when we had our conference indoor tournament that finished our fall. We're definitely excited to get going.
How are you seeing that upper class group take the next step?
I mean, individually, it's an individual sport, and so you look at each one individually in terms of what their level of play is, what they bring to the team, in terms of their performance, in terms of their work ethic, in terms of their attitude, in terms of their leadership, and all 5 of those guys that are seniors. Some have been here their whole careers. 3 of them have been here their whole careers. 2 are transfers, but they're all doing great. In terms of that. Sure, everybody has things in their game that aren't as good as they need to be in any sport. You've got strengths and weaknesses, and our focus is always day to day trying to find those weaknesses and try to tweak those things so they continue to get better. And weaknesses show up in pressure situations, and there's a lot of different parts to this game. It's definitely a lot more about just hitting the ball. I mean, there's a lot of mental and emotional things, as there are in any sport.
Yeah.
But we're constantly trying to keep improving. But again, overall, all 5 of those guys doing a great job. I mean, I'd mention our number 1 player, Nathaniel Webster from Kalamazoo, Michigan. Nathaniel has been our number 1 player for the last 3 years, and excited to see what he can do as a senior. And then Sajan Smith, who played lower in the lineup last year, he's going to have to step up and play somewhere in the top 4. Ian Brady, a transfer from Marquette. He's a 5th-year guy, his first year here. That he's definitely someone that we think can contribute, especially in doubles. I'm going to leave somebody out. And then Mason Tran.
This is good practice for your rotations
actually.
going into Michigan.
Mason Tran, he's a transfer from California. Went to a D3 school, and he was with us last year. He'll be a top 4 player for us. And then Peter Petrovic, who's a true senior from Brownsburg, Indiana. He's had a bit of a hard luck career with a lot of injuries. He's always been right on the edge of cracking in there, and but he's had a really good fall and has been a great leader for us this fall. So those are our five seniors, and good solid group, and they'll all be a big part of our of our team and a big part of how we do this year.
You mentioned Nathaniel Webster as the number one. How has he taken that next step this year?
He's done great. I mean, he didn't have the best fall that he could have had, but he had a hard luck sophomore year.
Yeah.
At the end of the year, he broke his ankle, missed a lot of last year, missed all fall, and never quite got his game back consistently to the same level it had been the previous year when he was really dominant, first team all conference, and so he should be ready to get back to his form from 2 years ago.
When you look at everything overall, Bill, going into this year, what excites you most about this group?
I think just the great work ethic that they have, really good attitudes, good practice attitudes. Probably more than anything, just really great competitors. Really great competitors. Just a very easy team to manage, a very easy team to coach. Go to practice every day, and these guys are ready to go. And I don't need to do a lot to get a fire going in them. They compete well, and as I said, they work hard, and that's really all you can ask for.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes you're not as good as your opponent, and if that's the case, sometimes that's the case. But if you just go out and fight and try to win every point and just compete, that's what athletics is all about, is competing and just trying to find a way. And mental toughness is really to me is defined by just coming back from disappointment, coming back from difficulty, just not getting discouraged. I tell our guys, I can handle anger. I can handle you losing your temper a little bit as long as it's not over the edge, but can't see discouragement. Can't see the negative body language, the negative self-talk. You've got to show strength out there, but mental toughness. This is a very mental game. I mean, you're going to lose. You lose almost as many points in a match as you win.
Right.
When you win a match, and so it's how you respond to losing points, how you respond to losing games, how you respond when you're serving out a set and you get broke, and you're gonna get discouraged, or you're gonna put it aside and tough it out and go on. And some guys have the innate ability of doing that, and some don't, and that's as a coach, I mean, you've got to trust. I tell our guys, look, I'm gonna play the 6 guys I can trust in terms of attitude and effort. Irrespective of ability, I'm gonna play the guys that I can trust, and but I think I can trust all of our guys. So that's makes our lineup decisions kind of tough.
Yeah.
I'm struggling right now, to be honest with you, is exactly what we're going to put out there against Michigan, because we have 10 guys, they all want to play, and they're all good enough to play. And I envy the sports, the coaches, the coach sports where you can in basketball, you can run a guy in for 5 minutes, you can have a rotation. Well, you either play or you don't play in our sport. And football, I mean, you're in and out, and you can sub, and we can't do that. We set our lineup for a match, and you're in or you're out. And those are, I struggle with every week. I struggle with who's playing, who's not playing, and how do I handle it. You want to keep everybody involved, but unfortunately, you just can't do it. And it's so we're early in the year. To that point, I mean, we're going to do the best we can to involve as many guys as we can, so we can keep everybody involved and keep them match tough, because we want to, and also evaluate for the time we do get to the conference. I mean, the conference is obviously, that's what it's all about. I mean, you want to win the conference, you want to go to the NCAA tournament, and so you know, if somebody's not playing for a month and all of a sudden you're in, it's tough. You know, that it's tough to jump in there without having competed other than in practice for any length of time. So it's a real balancing act there in terms of how you handle that.
Well, we're excited to see how it all plays out, for starting with Michigan. Appreciate you, Coach. Thank you. Good luck this year.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening to This Week in Ball State Sports, presented by Gamebridge. The preceding has been a Learfield presentation on the Gamebridge Ball State Cardinals Sports Network.